I learned early in life that in my family, perfection had a price, and that price was me. My two older sisters, Emily and Claire, were the golden daughters. They were smart, beautiful, successful, and wrapped in constant praise from our parents. They were the shining stars of every family gathering, every holiday card, every conversation that involved bragging rights. And then there was me, the invisible one, the afterthought, the helper. For 17 years, I lived like a servant disguised as a daughter. It started small, almost innocent. Honey, can you clean up the kitchen? Your sisters studied so hard today. Then it became, can you iron their dresses? They have an event. Later, you don't mind staying home while we take the girls out, right? They deserve a treat. What about me? I didn't deserve anything, apparently. My parents used to tell guests, oh, our youngest. She's our helper. Always so useful around the house. I was 14 the first time I heard my mother say it. My sisters smirked at me with that same look they always had, superiority mixed with entitlement. As the years passed, helping became expected labor. When my sisters got older, they needed a chauffeur, a babysitter, a nanny, a secretary, and I was all of those things. Emily had 2 kids. Claire had 1. I practically raised them. School. I was allowed to go, as long as my chores were done. College. Too expensive, my father said, while paying for Emily's wedding and Claire's photography business. Everything they wanted was a priority. Everything I needed was a burden. But the day everything truly changed was the day I overheard them in the kitchen when they thought I wasn't home. She should be grateful, Emily said. We let her live here for free. For free, Claire laughed. She should pay us for raising her. Then my mother said the sentence that tightened something inside me like a fist. She's not built for more. She's the one who keeps this family together by doing the work. She should stay here forever. I stood there, frozen. Stay here forever. As what? Their maid. Their unpaid servant. Their forgotten daughter who existed only for their convenience. Something cracked inside me that day, quietly and cleanly like snapping glass. Over the next few weeks, I started seeing everything clearly. This wasn't love. This wasn't family. This was exploitation dressed as tradition. I wasn't part of the family, I was a tool they used and polished only when necessary. But they didn't know something important. I had been saving. Every babysitting job they forced me to do. Every errand they sent me on where people tipped me out of pity. Every time their friends slipped me $20 because they felt bad watching me do everything. I saved it all. I didn't complain. I didn't push back. I didn't argue. Because I knew the day would come when I would use all of it. That day came much sooner than anyone expected. Emily announced a grand family reunion, a big one. A 60-person event at our family home. She told everyone, oh don't worry, my sister will cook and set everything. She's used to it. Used to it. A lifetime of servanthood summed up in 3 words. The morning of the event, they woke me up at 5 a.m. to prepare everything. They handed me lists, tasks, schedules, and instructions like I was staff they'd hired. You'll make sure the house is spotless, right? My mother said. And watch the kids, Claire added. And stay out of the pictures, Emily smirked. We want everything to look perfect. Perfect. A word that never included me. By noon, guests were arriving. Everyone hugged my sisters, praised them, complimented the decorations, which I had done, and admired the food, which I had cooked. My sisters took all the credit like it was their birthright. I was carrying a tray of drinks when I heard it. A voice behind me. Why is she dressed like the help? Emily laughed loudly. She basically is. A few people chuckled. A few looked at me with pity. No one said anything. And that was it. That was the last thread holding me to that house. I went to my room, grabbed my backpack, and calmly walked downstairs. I didn't look at anyone. I didn't owe them a goodbye. When I reached the door, my mother called out, irritated. Where do you think you're going? Get back in here. There's still work to do. I turned around, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel fear. I felt nothing. I'm leaving, I said softly. Emily rolled her eyes. Claire snorted. My mother scoffed. My father didn't even look up. You'll be back, my mother said. You have nowhere else to go. I didn't say a word back. I just walked away from the house that had taken 17 years of my life. That night, I stayed at a small motel using the money I had saved. The next day, I bought a bus ticket out of the city. I found a cheap apartment. I found work. I built a life. Slowly, quietly, brick by brick. But here's the thing about toxic families, they don't expect you to grow beyond their control. They don't expect you to rise. They especially don't expect you to come back stronger. And they definitely don't expect you to have proof of all their lies. Proof I had been collecting for years, without even realizing it. But they were going to realize it soon. Very soon. Because my revenge didn't start the day I walked away. My revenge started the day they needed me. And by then, it was too late. The first 6 months after I left were the hardest of my life. I worked 2 part-time jobs, one at a diner and one cleaning offices at night. I slept in a tiny studio where the heater barely worked. But even then, even in the cold and the loneliness, I felt freer than I ever had in that big, suffocating house. No one ordered me around. No one handed me a list of chores. No one talked to me like I was beneath them. The silence was painful, but it was mine. Slowly, I built a routine. Then a year passed, and then another. I took online classes at night, studying business management. I discovered I was actually smart, something no one had ever bothered to tell me. I got a promotion at work, then another. My confidence grew piece by piece, like learning to walk again after years of crawling. Meanwhile, I didn't hear from my family. Not a single call, not a text, not a, "Are you alive?" Nothing. And I didn't reach out either. I watched my sisters' lives from a distance through social media. Perfect poses, perfect smiles, perfect fake captions. Family is everything, they'd write. I wasn't in any of the pictures, not even in old ones. They had erased me completely, like I never existed. And honestly, I was okay with that. But one day, everything changed because of an unexpected message. It was from Emily's neighbor, Mrs. Porter. She wrote, "Sweetheart, I don't know what happened, but your family is falling apart. You should know." My fingers hesitated over the screen, but curiosity won. I called her. Her voice cracked with a sad kind of empathy. "They said you ran off, but I always knew something was wrong in that house. Your dad lost his job. Your mom is sick. And your sisters, well, they're fighting like wolves." I didn't say anything. I just listened as years of family lies were laid bare by a stranger. That night, I did something I hadn't done since the day I left. I opened the old hidden folder on my drive, the accidental revenge vault I'd been building without meaning to. Photos of me cleaning while they dressed up for parties. Recordings of them mocking me when they thought I wasn't listening. Messages where they ordered me around like I was their employee. Screenshots of their cruel jokes about how she's too dumb to live on her own. But the true gold was something I had forgotten existed. A long audio recording from the reunion. In it, you could hear clearly. "Why is she dressed like the help? She basically is. She should stay here forever. She's not built for more." Their voices, their words, their cruelty. Because here's the thing. When you're treated like a servant all your life, you learn to stay quiet. You learn to move silently. You learn to observe. And sometimes, while moving quietly, your phone stays recording in your pocket. At that moment, I didn't know what I would do with this mountain of evidence. I just knew one thing. They had built their perfect image on my back. And I wasn't done with them yet. 2 weeks later, I received another unexpected message. This time, from my sister Claire's husband. "Can you call me? It's about your family." I didn't want to. God, I didn't want to. But something told me this wasn't about nostalgia. This was about opportunity. When I answered, his voice was low and nervous. "Your mom is in the hospital. Emily isn't helping. Claire doesn't have the money. They said they need you." I almost laughed. Me, the forgotten one, the servant, but I swallowed the bitterness. "Why me?" I asked. "Because you're the only responsible one," he said. They always said that. Responsible. They had twisted the word to mean obedient. But now it meant powerful. I didn't say yes or no. I just told him I'd think about it. That night, I didn't sleep much. Because for the first time, the pieces began to connect. I wasn't the weak one anymore. I wasn't trapped. I had a life, a job, savings, confidence, and evidence. 17 years of abuse packaged into undeniable proof. My family had always cared about their reputation more than anything. What would happen if the world heard how they treated me? But I wasn't ready yet. Revenge without strategy is just anger. Revenge with timing, that's justice. 3 months passed. My job promoted me again. I moved into a nicer apartment. I bought a car. I felt like I'd become someone new, someone I wished I could show my younger self, the girl who cried in the bathroom after being yelled at for folding towels wrong. And then it happened. The message that started the chain reaction. From my mother. Her first message to me in 3 years. "Come home. We need your help." No apology. No greeting. No emotion. Just instructions. Then another message followed. "Your sisters said you're being dramatic. Stop playing the victim. There it was. 17 years summarized in 2 sentences. They didn't miss me. They needed me. And that's when I finally decided. If they wanted me back in their perfect family, I'd give them exactly what they deserved. Not with shouting, not with fights, not with tears, but with truth. Cold, sharp, undeniable truth. And I already had everything I needed to expose them. All I had to do was walk back through that door, not as their servant, but as their reckoning. And when I did, they had no idea how much their world was about to crumble. When I left home that night, I thought the world would forget me just as quickly as my parents had. But a strange thing happens when you disappear. People start noticing the shape of your absence. By the end of the first week, my phone, still switched off but occasionally checked, was overflowing with desperate messages. Most were from my mother, asking where I was, whether I'd eaten, begging me to stop this drama. My father wasn't so emotional. His texts were short commands: come home. Call me. Stop acting spoiled. Not once did either of them say, we were wrong. Not once did anyone ask if I was safe. My golden sister, on the other hand, posted a picture on Instagram with the caption, "Don't lose your mind over money. Family first." Funny how she didn't tag me. Those messages didn't hurt me the way they used to. Instead, I felt something shift in my chest, a freedom I had never tasted before. For the first time, I was living on my own terms. In my small rented apartment, I made a list of everything I wanted to do. I wanted to travel. I wanted to study something I actually liked. I wanted to build a life where no one treated me like a walking wallet or a tool to be used. The lottery money wasn't the point anymore, it was only a key. I was finally opening doors I had been too afraid to touch. 3 months passed. I got a small job in a local tech center, not because I needed the money, but because I needed to feel human again. My coworkers knew nothing about my win, nothing about my family, nothing about the pain behind my smile. They only knew me as the quiet newcomer who worked hard and laughed softly at their jokes. For once, I wasn't the responsible one, the forgotten one, the one expected to sacrifice everything. I was just me. But peace never lasts long when you leave behind people who only know how to take. One morning, as I walked out of my apartment, I saw my father's car parked on the street. He wasn't alone. My mother sat in the passenger seat, wiping her eyes with a trembling hand. A piece of me cracked, but I didn't let it show. I turned around and headed the other way. They got out instantly. Wait, my mother called, her voice breaking. I stopped but didn't turn. My father walked ahead and stepped in front of me. His eyes were sunken, darker than I remembered. Come home, he said quietly, almost gently. We made a mistake. A mistake. That was the closest thing to an apology I was ever going to get. Then my sister stepped out of the car. She looked completely fine, hair done, nails perfect, phone in hand. Her eyes scanned me like I was a stranger. Just come back, she said flatly. Everything can go back to normal. Normal. As if normal meant anything good for me. I finally turned to face them all. My voice was steady, surprising even myself. Normal was killing me. My mother began crying harder. We were scared. We didn't know how to handle such a big amount. Your father thought. My father thought everything I owned belonged to you, I said sharply. Just like always. My father flinched. I had never spoken to him like that before. We don't want your money, he said. That's good, I replied. Because you're not getting it. My sister folded her arms. So you're choosing money over family. I let out a soft, bitter laugh. No, I'm choosing myself for the first time. Something shifted in the air. My mother took a step closer. Please, at least talk to us. I am talking, I said. But I'm not coming home. My father's jaw tightened. Then what do you want? What I wanted was something they couldn't give me, not because they didn't have it, but because they had never learned how. I want peace, I said. And you don't know how to give that. For a long moment, no one moved. Then my mother whispered, we lost you. You didn't lose me, I said. You made me leave. My father took my mother's hand and slowly guided her back to the car. My sister lingered for a second. She looked at me, not with love, but with confusion, like she couldn't understand how her shadow had suddenly learned to shine on its own. I hope you find what you're looking for, she said. I already did, I replied. They drove away without another word. When the street grew quiet, I exhaled deeply. It was over. Not because they had accepted anything, but because I finally had. I walked back to my apartment, locked the door, and looked around at the small space that had become my home. My real home. I didn't know what the future held, new friends, new places, new dreams, but for the first time, I was excited. Not scared, not guilty, just free. And that freedom was worth far more than $620,000.